Well, hello everybody, and welcome back. Hey, yeah, I'm back. Great. So today, let me tell you a little story. This morning I watched a video. The gentleman titled the video, 12 Best Progressive Rock Albums. The essential ones. You gotta have these at 12. So great. I like progressive rock records. Yeah, I got a few of those things. I really like that genre of records. Music. So, I watched the video. I'm like, it's like his first, he's got Frank Zappa in there. He's got all kinds of, what? What are you doing? And then finally, at the very end, he puts in Pink Floyd and Emerson, Lake and Palmer and Jethro Tull. Of course, they're great progressive records, but what about the first 10 that you were, or 9 you talked about? I don't own any of those records. They might be progressive rock or something, but they're not good. So I said, you know what? I even put a comment on his channel. I said, you know what? You've inspired me. I'm going to do a video about progressive rock records. And here we go. First one. Chamara by Duncan McKay. This was originally a Vertigo swirl that was released in South Africa in 1973, I believe, or 74. And now it was reissued by a record company called Missing Vinyl out of Athens, Greece. And that's when I bought this. Probably, I don't know, 12 years ago, 10 years ago or so, I guess I bought it. And I'll show you the label because it's an odd label. You don't see it. You've probably never seen it before. So we have this record by Duncan McKay, Chamara. It's on a nice gatefold. Of course, I still have it in the shrink. You know how I am about stuff like that. Kind of people say, why do you keep it in the shrink? Well, it's for posterity. Because when I find a record or I hear a title of a record that is an old, like maybe from some 70s band that I'd never heard of, and then I say, you know what, I want to buy that record. And I go on eBay and I see one in the shrink. I said, that's the one I'm buying. That's like a near mint thing. Because that's what I like. So it's not so much for me, but it's about my youngest boy is going to inherit all my records just for him. So, what's this record about, Ron? Okay, this is a keyboard-centered record. And this guy is the Keith Emerson of South Africa. This guy is a virtuoso of the keyboards. If you are just lightly familiar with Emerson, Lake and Palmer, you know how it sounds, and you don't know all their records, and someone's put this on, you go, hey, what record, Emerson, Lake and Palmer record is that? Because it really reminds you of him. The way, the style and the tone and everything of the record. And he's got a great voice. The songs are really good. And the singing is really good as well. So, a really, really good record that I really, really enjoy. And it's a really good progressive rock record. What have we got next? The next one up, well, you know what I'm going to do next? I'm going to do some shout-outs. I got a few shout-outs to go. I got 3. First, we're going to give a shout-out to Craig Evans. Yes, here it is, Craig. Craig Evans contacted me on Messenger through Facebook. I'm on Facebook under Ron Beaudry, of course. And if you want to contact me through Messenger, you don't have to be my friend, anything like that. Just look me up on Facebook, Ron Beaudry. You'll see my picture there with my wife, and you'll know that it's me. And you can send me a message like Craig did. And we had a nice couple of conversations over a couple of different weeks. We talked back and forth. And Craig's from Birmingham, England, and that's where Black Sabbath is from. And he said he went to school with Stevie Winwood, and he just lived the next block over. And he also said, and that was a great place to grow up back in the early days of rock and roll, because the Stones came through there, of course the Who, all the great, UK bands went through there. Then I want to talk to the next person I want to give a shout out is to Chloe Beaudry, my newest subscriber. Thank you so much, young lady, for subscribing and taking the time to leave me a comment to let me know that you've subscribed. It was so sweet. Thank you so much. Then I had a guy called Groot Williams. Now he just left me a comment, I think it was yesterday or the day before, and he was wanting to know how I was, if there was any kind of situation. Now I've had this before, when I've had some longer pauses in between videos, people would contact me and say, hey, are you okay? What's going on? You haven't done a video. So I wanted to thank Mr. Williams for his kindness and for his caring, and that meant a lot to me. And thank you for all the people that have done that over the years. Thanks a lot. So that's the shout outs out of the way. What's the next record? The next record is called the Far East Family Band, and the name of the record is Far Out. Here's the back cover, and you can see it says that it's only 750 copies made, but the numbered is left blank. Normally when they leave it blank, it's because it's a promo. I've had that before where you don't have a number of a numbered record. There's the inside of the gatefold. Now this band is known as the Pink Floyd of Japan. As you can tell, these guys are out of Japan. 73, this record was made on Nippon Columbia. And it was reissued in 2000 by Buy or Die Records. And I don't know the source of anything, but this is a really good standout record here. Some really early progressive rock, a lot of guitars, a lot of fuzz. But the way they do it is kind of more like Pink Floyd. It's not psych, it's more progressive rock. Good record. Check it out. I know you'll like it. And for Dave, I want to show you the insert. Here's the insert. David was one of my longtime subscribers, and he left me a comment a while back. He said, Ron, when you show your records, if there's a old inner sleeve or an insert or anything like that, I want to see everything. So he goes by the name of Dimebag Dave. I see him all over the VC. And so if you want to see things or talk about things that I'm not doing, let me know in the comments like Dave did. And then we can take care of that for you. Now, not a progressive rock record, but the Far East Family Band is not to be confused with the Flower Traveling Band, which is another band out of Japan. But these guys are known kind of as the Black Sabbath of Japan. This is more of a hard psych record. But I just wanted to put that in there and clear that up. People don't get confused about that. Next record, nice UK press, called Just a Poke, Sweet Smoke. And this has got 2 songs on it, side 1 and side 2. Side 1 is guitar and flute, really good vocals, bass. It's got some organ in there. And really tasty guitar solos and stuff in this. On the second side now, gets a little more smoky. And they have like a lot of saxophone starts on side 2. Really good guitar again, and the saxophone is fantastic. And then about 3/4 of the way through, they start getting into a drum solo. You know, these early 70s records, they like to have drum solos on their records. And But the drum solo starts getting like you're on an acid trip. You know, it starts going, swirling around speaker to speaker, back and forth, all this synthesized drumming, you know what I'm getting at. And then it slows down into like a lot of percussion, bells and wood and stuff like that. But it's really, really good. And it's on the blue EMI label out of the UK. EMI Columbia. UK press. Really, really good sounding record. As a lot of the UK original presses, of course, are very good sounding. Okay, now we have a record called Kaan, K-A-A-N, Space Shanty. It's a non-gatefold record on Durham. I'll show you the label so you can get the spelling of it. Konspace Shanty. And this record here now comes with an insert, as you know all the Japanese records do. And it's the Japanese is on one side, the Japanese lyrics and all the liner notes, and then on the inside it's the English lyrics. And they have some information here about the band members. Steve Hillage. This is a Steve Hillage record. Steve Hillage wrote most of all the songs on here. And there's only one song where it's Hillage and Greenwood. So Steve Hillage plays guitars and vocals. Nick Greenwood is on bass and vocals. Eric Peachy drums with Steve Stewart, organ, piano, marimbas, and Sky Celeste. Okay, and they do make a note on here. Our very special thanks to Dave Stewart, who fitted in our sessions in between heavy commitments with his band called Egg. Now, prior to David Stewart being part of Egg and Steve Hillage being part of this Konspace Shanty, they were in a band together before that. So that's how they know each other. They were in a band previously together. So how is this record? Yep, I think I've had a number of Steve Hillage records. 1, 2, I've had at least there's 3, 4 others. This is by far the best one. And I think I like this one the best because of the keyboards. Because of the keyboards on here. The keyboards are really good. Now Steve does some really good guitar work on here. And the singing is really good. The bass is really good songs, good music. Really good. So Konspace Shanty. Really good progressive rock record. And of course, what's next? Well, it's got to be Egg, right? This is, of course, featuring the keyboardist from the previous record. And now this record, when I listen to it, the keyboards and the music reminds me of Beggar's Opera on side 1. Side 2, it reminds me of Keith Emerson on Emerson, Lake and Palmer. Quite a bit. Yeah, this is a good record right here. Really good. Egg from, I think it's 69. Now this is a reissue from 85, a UK reissue. On the, I have a number of these, this label. C for Miles Records Limited. That's a UK label, a UK reissue label from the mid-80s. Next, we have a record. This is called Curved Air, their second album. And this is a really good album too. Really good. Now if I look at the liner notes on the inside, this is on the Palm Tree label. See if they got the year on here. I don't see it because it just says made in Japan. 72. Okay. I usually did say it. 1972. And who's on this record? Let's have a look on the inside here. It'll tell me. We have vocals, Darrell Way, vocals, electric violin. So we've got a vocalist, and we have electric guitar, violin, piano, Francis Muckman guitar, keyboards, and the synthesizer. A lot of synthesizer on here. Bass guitar, Florin Pinkerton drums, and it features female vocals. Well, it doesn't say on here, but I guess Sonia Linwood is the vocalist. Here's the picture of the band. Yeah, this is progressive rock at its best right here. It's got violin and great guitar, a lot of keyboards. This is a heavy keyboard record, synthesizers, all that really, and done really well. In fact, the tunes are kind of catchy in a good way. And I'll be right back. Gotta get the record. We're back. Yeah, I had a little mix up earlier. We won't get into that. Here's the first record that I ever bought by Curved Air. It's called Air Cut. This one came out in '74, and in 1974 I bought the record. The inside of the gatefold. And because it is one of my favorite records, I try to buy the best sounding version I can, and I've got this original Japanese pressing right here on a really super thick gatefold, and it sounds fantastic. Sounds a lot better than my original Warner Brother label. So much more dynamic. Just a lot more music, just a lot more of everything. And you can see on the, we've got flute. There's again violin, electric violin. There's electric guitar. We've got synthesizer and keyboards and female vocals and some really, really good songs on here. And the instrumentation is so good. The musicianship is so good on here. Just one of the greatest progressive rock albums of all time. And please bear with me again. I want to flip the record over. You know, it's about records, so we're playing records. Take a second. Yeah, I had made the video earlier today, and I used Eric Dolphy record, and it got a copyright strike. So that's why I got to do the video over again. And I had put those other records in a separate pile. And I forgot about that. That's why I had to go back and get those other records out of the pile. Okay, so now, another one of my favorite all-time records, which is a progressive rock record, Selling England by the Pound by Genesis. Now I do have the new 75th anniversary 2LP 45 RPM. And I bought it when it came out. And I had a few issues with the record. Not sonically, because sonically, there's no comparison. It's so much better than this old classic records version, which is a very good sounding record, as you know. But as I talked about before, with the 75th anniversary records, you know, I've been collecting records for a long time, and I have a lot of, when I collect a record now, I want it to be the best sounding version there is, and I want it to be one of my favorite records, and I want it to be pristine as I can get it. So I have a lot of those records that came out already, the ones that I want. I'm not going to buy every one of them because, frankly, I don't want every one of them. But there are some that I do want because they're some of my favorite records. This is one of my favorite records, and I wanted to get it. I wanted to pay the extra to get that little extra fidelity on it. Does that mean this one's not good and I wouldn't enjoy it? No, this is a great sounding record, and I enjoy it the way this sounds. Because really, I don't know any better. Why? It's all because what are you comparing it to? This is what I've said for the last 11 years on my channel. It doesn't seem to matter what record you get, if it's a reissue, a digital record, whatever, unless it's absolutely horrible, which they're not, most of them. You put the record on your turntable and you say, wow, this record sounds really good. And compared to what? Yeah, because a lot of them, they're not actually that good when you get an audiophile record that's been made. And this is kind of where I started my whole channel, right? Comparing records. Let's talk about that a minute. We got time. Here for about the last, I've noticed it more in the last month or so. Because as you know, there's not a lot of channels out there that talk about records and they compare the sound quality of one record versus another record. And what I've been noticing a lot more lately is that the person will have two records and he'll say, yeah, this one sounds really good and this one sounds really good. But they sound different. And this one might have a little more sound stage and this one might have a little more, sizzle. This one might have a little more, it might be more air. Yeah, that's just all like buzzwords because you don't, and then he'll finally come out and say, listen, they both sound good, but they sound different. But I don't know how to describe what the difference is. And I'm like, whoa, hang on a minute. Why in the hell are you making a video about comparing one record to the next when you can't describe what the differences are? Tell me if I'm wrong. Have you noticed the same thing? Now, there's some folks on there that are very popular and they have really nice channels and they want to talk about the differences in the records, but they might not have the vocabulary, or maybe English is not their first language and they have a hard time describing what the differences are. But at least most of the time they can tell you which one they like better. But that's still not going to help me if I'm watching a video and I want to know what the details are. If you've watched my videos, you know I go into great detail about all the different aspects of what I heard different between one and the other. And then you'll know why I like this one better, right? Just putting that out there. Because I think what I'm going to do is because, Yes is progressive rock, one of my favorite bands, and they came out in the 75th anniversary series. And now I have some one steps and some 2LP 45 RPMs and some half speed masters. I have some really good sounding versions of those records. But I do know that Chads are going to be better. I know it. So they're some of my favorite records. So now I'm going to bite the bullet and I'm going to buy them. And I'll be happy to announce that, yeah, we get to do some comparison videos. And hopefully I can do better than, well, they sound different, but I don't know how to describe it. Hopefully I can do a better job than that for y'all. Okay. So next of all, we'll wait on that one. That one's out of place. We got a record called Finch. A band called Finch, and the record is called Glory of the Inner Force. We've got 2 songs on side 1 and 2 songs on side 2. Really good guitar, really good bass work, good keyboards. And this is just a really good band here. And the bass and the guitar, they have those moments where they're really playing fast together. And it kind of sounds like Yes. this is who this band reminds me of. Of course, they do have their points like Yes, where they slow down, they speed up, they change tempos. But if you're going to compare this to anybody, this is a band out of Holland. This is a Dutch band from, I think it's 75. They're called Finch. You might want to check that record out. Really good. Okay, now we got the Emerson, Lake and Palmer, right? Their first album. This is the Japan original pressing. That's the only Japan presses you want are the original press, which are really hard to get. They're really rare. That's why a lot of people say, well, the Japanese records sound bright. Well, you have to get the original pressing. You can't start saying, my original sounds better than their third reissue. Well, it should, right? Okay. Great record, progressive rock record. Now we can pull this one up out of here. Now we've got Trilogy. This is a Mobile Fidelity Sound Lab original master recording. It's on a nice gatefold. I bought this in '93, and this is when MoFi was Anadis 2000, Mobile Fidelity Sound Lab, they were called, MSFL Inc. These are half speeds, mastered, and they're specially plated and pressed on 200 gram records with high definition vinyl. And that was before Music Direct bought them. This iteration went out of business, and then Music Direct bought them, and now Music Direct, they're all using, digital files to make records. So, and some of them sound pretty good. But if you compare all the records that Chad has made, like the Stevie Ray Vaughan and such, to the records that MoFi did as One Steps, and they both made the same record. Chad's records are always better. So if you can get the original master tape and you get Kevin Gray, Ryan K. Smith to remaster that record, and you put it on 2LP, 45 RPM, it's going to sound better than taking a tape recorder and making a DSD file and then making a record from that, and then doing all your mastering in the digital domain and all the rest of it. Analog still sounds better than digital. But those digital records that they're making, they do sound good. But they're not as good as Chad's records. Tarcus, same thing. And now this one is they were numbered, okay, back in those days too. This one is 323 and the other one is 174. Trilogy was 174. And I bought these records down in Fort Lauderdale back in '93. I went down there, I bought some Martin Logan speakers from the fella, and this is where they were selling the records, in the showroom of the hi-fi store. Because who was buying records in '93? Audiophiles were buying records. It wasn't your regular run-of-the-mill collector. They had sold all their records and now they were buying CDs. That was the best thing ever. But folks like myself, I thought the record sounded better. So I continued to buy records. And that's where I bought them, down in Fort Lauderdale at a hi-fi salon. The fourth record that I have from Emerson, Lake and Palmer is Brain Salad Surgery. And this is from 1973. And that's the 4 Emerson, Lake and Palmer records I have. I think they're all fantastic. And this again is another Japanese first edition. I don't have the OB strip, but it's on a white Manicore label. Now, if we're going to talk about progressive rock records, right? You got to talk about King Crimson and the record In the Court of the Crimson King. This is a record that was made in 2010 by Innernaut. And the significance of this record is that the record was originally released in 1969 and they had lost the original master tape. They couldn't find it. They finally found it in 2010, and Internaut, I think, was the first one out of the UK. This is a UK record. They took the original master tape and they made a record from it. I do believe this is a digital record because it says on here it includes exclusive codes for a 320 MP3 download of the original 69 vinyl transfer. So I don't know exactly what that means. Did they do an analog remaster or what? But it sounds fantastic. That's all I know. I really like the sound of it. It's a really good sounding record. It's 200 gram, UK press. Makes me happy. And of course, what is this? This is one of the best progressive rock records of all time. This is what the video's about, right? These good records. So now I got a record. And in the comments, let me know if some of these records that I'm talking about, you say, Ron, that's not even progressive rock. That's some other kind of genre. Well, here we go. This might be one of those things, but let me explain myself. When this record came out in '74, we didn't really have an electronic music yet, because these guys kind of invented it. So in '74, when this came out, this was very progressive. This is different. This is a progressive kind of rock record. That's why I'm saying it's progressive rock for the time. Nowadays, we'd say it's electronic. It's not really techno, right? It's electronic music, electronica. But in the day when it came out, this was very progressive. And it's rock. So hey, progressive rock. Well, thanks everybody for tuning in. Thanks for listening to me talk a little bit about these records, putting up with me. Thank you so much for tuning in. I'd love to see y'all come back. Maybe we can make another record soon. Like when I decided to make the video, I pulled out about 85 records. And I said, I'm just going to make the whole thing right through. Just run right through them. Don't take any time. Just boom, boom, boom. Get them all done in one video. Then I started looking at it and I go, there's no way I can do that. It'll be a 2-hour video. So I broke it. I broke them down into 4 videos I'm going to do. This is going to be part 1 of 4 different videos on my favorite progressive rock records. And thanks so much again for tuning in. And bye for now. Take care, everybody. We love you now. Bye-bye.